Hello friends. With you is Find Out Movie Recap. Let's get started. Take care, there are spoilers in this video. Movie: The Conjuring. The film begins in 1968 with a brief introduction where ghost hunters and paranormal researchers, Ed and Lorraine Warren, tackle the Annabelle Cassay case. Two girls educators tell them that a girl named Annabelle once died in their apartment, and her ghost liked the doll of one of the girls, and she wants to move into it in order to live with the girls. The educators, because of their kindness, we are nannies, allow the ghost to do this.
I like your doll.
Well, I don't like you, so fuck off.
After which, one day, when they come home, they find the doll out of place. The whole room is covered with red crayon. Their joint photographs are broken. And there is the inscription, "Did you miss me?" One of the girls throws Annabelle into the trash can, despite the others' persuasions to leave her. A few days later, at night, the malevolent doll returns. Ed and Lorraine convince the girls that there is no Annabelle, that this ghost is simply manipulating the girls, trying to possess one of them. The Warrens take the doll with them and place it in their vault, where various items used in magical rituals are collected. While explaining to one reporter why they won't burn these things, Ed Warren says that sometimes it's better to keep the genie in a bottle. Then the action is transferred to 1971 in Harrisville, where the Perron family, Father Roger, Mother Carolyn, and their 5 daughters, Andrea, Nancy, Christine, Cindy, and April, move to a new home. At first, everything goes well, the family settles in, the girls are happy, the parents are too, but only Sadie's dog does not want to enter the house. Girls love to play blind man's buff, and once playing they accidentally find a basement boarded up by boards of a house. After that, strange things begin to happen in the house. It all starts small, the dog dies. The clock stops at around 3:07 a.m. The temperature drops in the house.
It's too cold.
And smells of rotten stuff at night. Birds flying over the house fall dead, with their necks rolled up, girls are grabbed by the legs at night. Carolyn discovers bruises on his body and cannot understand where they came from. Against the background of all this, Cindy Perron walks in a dream at night, and each time enters the room to her older sister Andrea, where she beats her forehead against the doors of an old cabinet. Carolyn then hears her youngest daughter April talking to someone, and April herself informs her mother that she was talking to Rory, a boy who lives in an old music box she found in the house. Later, Carolyn plays blind man's buff with her daughter and enters Andrea's room, where the doors of the closet, which Cindy beats against at night, open by themselves, and hands stick out of things and start clapping. Carolyn, hearing this, goes to the sound and believes that she has caught April, but after looking in the closet, she finds nothing. The girl was hiding in the next room.
Oh shit! A ghost! You motherfucking ghost!
After some time, Roger leaves for a business trip. At night, Carolyn, already going to bed, hears claps and believes that the girls have decided to play. But they are all asleep. And then the photographs, hung along the wall, plummet to the floor. Carolyn, hearing sounds, go to the basement, and it seems to her that someone is there. When she is about to leave the basement, the door slams shut. Then a light bulb burst and Carolyn hears a child's voice, inviting her to play blind man's buff, after which someone's hands clap.
Oh shit! A ghost!
Meanwhile, Cindy comes back to Andrea's room in her sleep and bangs her head on the closet. Andrea puts her sister next to him, but at the same second, the closet starts knocking again. And then Andrea sees that an old woman is sitting in the closet in a dirty nightie, with disheveled hair and blood in her mouth. The old woman jumps off the closet onto Andrea, who starts screaming. Roger, who has arrived by this time, hears screams and runs towards them. Having freed his wife first, he runs to Andrea's screams. Running into the room, Roger sees only Andrea twitching on the floor. Then another daughter of Perron, Christina, sees something in her room at night that verbally threatens her family. A demoralized Carolyn attends Ed and Lorraine's lecture and tells them everything. Arriving at the Perrons, the Warrens understand that there is not one ghost in the house, but several, but one of them is full of hatred. Also, Lorraine, looking into April's casket, manages to make out Rory. She and Ed come to the conclusion that an exorcism should be performed in the house, but the evidence is needed to get permission to perform it. Exploring the history of the house, the Warrens find out that it was built in 1863 by Jetson Sherman. His wife Bathsheba was related to Mary Town Essie, who was one of the victims of the Salem witch trials. Bathsheba and Jetson had a daughter. On the seventh day after the birth of her daughter, Bathsheba sacrificed her to Satan, throwing the child into the fireplace. Then Bathsheba climbed a tree near the lake, proclaimed her love for Satan, cursed everyone who tried to take possession of her land, and hanged herself. The time of her death is 3 hours 7 minutes at night. Also in the vicinity of the house, which used to be in the possession of the Shermans, once lived a woman named Walker, and she had a son, Rory, who disappeared in the forest, and the mother herself killed herself in the basement. Also, a young maid, who was in this house, also committed suicide. Ed then, listening to the recording of the interview with the Perrons, discovers that Carolyn's voice has not been recorded. While Ed and Lorraine discuss this, the tape is self-playing, but now instead of Carolyn's voice, the Warrens hear someone growling and screaming, and the clock stops at 3 hours and 7 minutes. The next day, the Warrens, along with their assistant Drew and police officer Brad, arrive at the Perrons and place special tracking equipment around the house.
Oh shit! A ghost!
But on the first day, nothing supernatural is detected. The next day, when Carolyn decides to rest in her bedroom, Lorraine sees in the window of her room the same old woman who was in Andrea's room. She hurries to Carolyn, but Bathsheba, before disappearing, manages to infect the latter with something. Carolyn, however, acts as nothing happened. Later, at night, Brad is confronted by the ghost of a maid. Then Cindy walks in her sleep again, and the equipment records something that is walking next to her. Cindy walks into Andrea's room and the door slams shut. When it is opened, the room is empty. But later the girl is found in a cache behind the closet. April says this is where Rory hides when he's scared. Lorraine crawls through the hole with the box and discovers a few more toys and a rope to hang. Here the boards do not support her weight, and she falls between the walls into the basement. There, using the box, Lorraine sees in the reflection the Walker woman and the corpse of her son, Rory. The woman, holding a knife and crying, says, "She made me do it." Then Lorraine sees the hanged corpse and runs away in horror,
Oh, I'm scared!
losing the medallion that her daughter gave her. After running out of the basement, Lorraine reports that she understood everything. The ghost of Bathsheba makes parents kill their children. The bruises on Carolyn's body are the consequences of Bathsheba's exposure. Literally on the same night, Bathsheba, with the help of Lorraine's medallion, enters their house and frightens Ed's and Lorraine's daughter with the Annabelle doll. But does not have time to harm her. The Aprons are temporarily staying at the motel. Having gone away for a while, Roger discovers that Carolyn took Christine and April and left in an unknown direction. Lorraine realizes that Bathsheba has finally moved into Carolyn, and she is taking her daughters back to the damned house. Carolyn tries to stab Christine with scissors, but Ed, Lorraine, Roger, Drew and Brad manage to save the child. They try to take the possessed person out of the house, but at the exit, large bruises appear out of nowhere on her body. Bathsheba does not want Carolyn to leave the house. She is tied up, and Ed decides to carry out the exile ritual on his own since there is no time to wait for the priest. Meanwhile, Drew searches for the missing April and finds her under the kitchen floor. He yells about this to Roger, but Carolyn, having successfully escaped, grabs the scissors and runs into the basement under the kitchen to April. In the final seconds, Ed manages to divert Carolyn's attention from April, while Lorraine convinces Carolyn to fight. Carolyn defeats Bathsheba and regains her body. In the final shots of the film, Ed Warren puts the box in his basement, and Lorraine informs him that the Vatican has given permission to conduct an exorcism in the house. The Warrens leave the room, and the camera pans to the box with a raised mirror and music playing. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos of this kind. See you on the internet. Bye.